Are you rooted in love or are you rooted in fear? And you can tell by two simple tests. If your life is working, you're rooted in love. If you're struggling to make it work, you're rooted in fear. The telltale sign for fear roots is when your mind is consumed by your thoughts and you get stuck and pulled in, drawn into compulsive thinking. It's how you feel safe. You stay in your head. You're playing tapes from the past, or you're worrying about the future, or you're just somewhere else in your mind. You're not where you are. You are unable to be present in the moment, and you tend to get lost in the fog of thinking. You wake up looking for your comfort in your thoughts. You'll spend time dialoguing with insignificant aspects that are happening around you. You go to sleep reliving or rethinking things from the past or trying to predict the future. Anchoring our thinking to fear, it's kind of like inviting someone that you don't like into your home and then insisting that they live with you so you can keep an eye on them. Over time, they're going to take control of your life, and it will rearrange everything to accommodate its presence, and it takes your power and it puts itself in charge and it takes over your decision making. And you are no longer choosing how you live life, it's being dictated to you. And this is where many of us start our journey, when we're drained and we're feeling in some state of powerlessness. And for many of us, our roots begin at a young age. They begin the first time we encounter a scenario that makes us feel fearful, inadequate, or vulnerable. This marks the starting point for suppressing many of our emotions. In these moments of wanting to be somewhere else, we stamp it with a fear label or a "don't ever let me feel like this again" label. And these suppressions become our roots, and that becomes our habits and the foundation of our coping skills. So we are conditioned for suppression also by our society. It's not always something that happens to us. There is some external conditioning that comes from our families, our cultures, religions, from our own experiences. Many of us are chastised for not telling the truth, and we are simultaneously trained to keep secrets depending on the situation. We are fed conflicts from birth, and by the time we start evolving into knowing who we are, we've got some confusion about how we're supposed to think and feel. We've been taught to be embarrassed to cry or to ask for help, or don't talk too loud, don't make too much noise, don't make too many mistakes, don't ask too many questions, and myriad of other things that we've been getting double messages about. Speak your truth, stand in your truth, but hide your feelings and make sure you don't expose your vulnerability. So someone, something, or our own self has conditioned us for some type of suppression. This brings to mind a poignant story Maya Angelou told about her life. She said when she was 7, she was sexually attacked. And when she spoke the name of her attacker, members of her community found this man and they kicked him to death. And she said it traumatized her so deeply because her young mind believed that her words had caused the death of someone. So she decided she was not going to speak again. For 5 years, she didn't speak. And she went on to say that being stripped of your dignity at a young age, more often than not, will create a very young, cynical person. And that there's nothing so pitiful as a young cynic, because they've gone from knowing nothing to believing in nothing. So this just struck me between the eyes and helped to really elucidate that if you have suppressed emotions around an experience, they're going to show up somewhere in your life. When you get triggered, it will, without warning, take you back to that moment. It's going to flood your body with feelings of being there. It can be a smell, someone's voice, a saying, an expression, a song, music, person, an environment, a situation, and any number of things. Instantly, you will either shut down or you'll go into fight or flight based on the chemicals it's producing. And so in that moment, if you don't have a clear concept of how to have an intake and release for the things you're processing, you are not just experiencing that experience, you're adding a new injury on top of the old one. You're layering pain upon pain, and it forces it to burrow deeper into your system. And this eventually festers as some type of emotional, mental, or physical illness. So when we hide our true feelings, we will have a hard time accessing them if we don't have a mechanism for tracing the roots and releasing them and replanting them into a space where they can get healed. So our goal is to get reconnected to our emotional roots, because without this soul-body connection, without this beautiful stained glass energy that's meant to balance us, fear will keep us reacting to our life rather than being able to respond to it. We won't be able to choose our roots. They will be dictated to us. And we will learn to survive in pain rather to live with a purpose. Well, the habits show up after we get the roots in, because it's just a series of steps that we do that keep us in a space that makes us feel safe. That's what our habits do. And if we have stuck energies that are working around these back alleys and corridors, these workarounds for our energy systems, then we do have to go back and liberate them. Because when we encounter the right set of circumstances, as I mentioned, you'll just get them set off. And you start asking yourself, well, why did I do that? Why do I say that? You won't know until you be able to assess your habits. What habits have you created in order to protect yourself? So the good habits we don't need to talk about, because those are easy to navigate. Why do I love children? Why do I love dogs? Why do I love helping the homeless? Although some of these things can have roots in healing your own pain, they're obviously a healthy approach to doing that. It's the ones that prevent you from sorting your basement. It's the ones that keep you from getting into your emotional thought process and don't allow you to ask the deep questions without getting you distracted or making you eat bad stuff, or forcing you to have an outburst of a distraction. It's the habits that keep us being someone we don't want to be when we're not thinking about who we're being. It's the part of us that's on autopilot and is not able to go on performance mode. This is the one that is adjusting the navigation systems in our lives without our knowledge. And strangely enough, we're giving them permission. Part of us has locked itself into our emotional back room, and it's taken our credit card of emotional energy, and it's ordering all kind of Amazon packages that we didn't order. It is in there getting all kind of things that we don't need and we didn't order because we gave it permission to protect us from going to the dark place. So believe it or not, the dark place is only dark until you have a flashlight, and that's what these wonderful worksheets and the fear module is, a beautiful flashlight, a safe process for going in and working out the habits. And once you start moving through it, you're going to start seeing how easy it is to restructure how you do things. Just a system, and you can do it, and all parts of you are ready to heal. Otherwise, you wouldn't have attracted yourself to this technology. When our roots have become the foundation for habits that are not producing a life that we want, we have a few choices. We can allow them the permission to stay on autopilot and run in the background of our lives, creating experiences and outcomes that are not in our highest good, or we can choose to change our habits and create a new experience that brings us closer to the life that we want. It's that simple. We get to choose how we want to move forward once we realize that our unconscious roots have given us habits that don't allow us to become the person we want to become. Now, once we make a choice about those habits, we have to deal with the tendencies that have come as a result of them. There aren't many things that are more powerful than our emotions, and they create a deep and lasting groove. The energetic trajectory that they have, in a way, is atomic. If you've been in a room where something intense has taken place, or you can feel the residue of the energy of something that was hostile or something that was even very positive, there's a footprint, there is an outline, a signature that everyone's energy leaves. So until you understand that your tendencies, based on your habits, based on your roots and what you believe or believe you've experienced, is creating your tendency. And you have to take responsibility for what you're going to do with that. You are responsible for managing that energy based on your choices. You're responsible for taking complete ownership of how it flows and how it happens in your body. Not knowing what to do about it is no longer something you can claim, because you've been given a lot of information on how to align yourself. So what tends to happen is our tendencies tend to create sayings like, well, that's just the way I've always done things. Or, I don't know why I do that. Or I never really thought about that. We no longer get to stop there. You're going to have to start analyzing why you do what you do. Why do I defend positions? Why do I need to be right? Why am I justifying my pain? Why am I using chaos as a distraction? Why am I procrastinating? Why am I being self-destructive? Why am I needing to protect myself from letting people get close to me? Until you're able to wield this incredible emotional power that you possess and give it a long, hard talking to about where its alliances are, you're not going to be equipped to overcome the simplest things in your life. Until you're willing to align your emotions with your higher flow through, with your divine presence, stability, and any kind of anchored awareness to what is good for you is going to be out of your access. Thoughts and emotions are things. When you have a thought that's fleeting, it's just a thought. But when you add an emotion to it, it takes on a life force. And this is turning into a thought, and it becomes a thing. This is where your ping gets sent out. You have taken a thought, attached it to emotion, and you have turned it into physical and emotional energy. And that combination, when it's out of whack, creates a very unstable experience. You get a ping and a pong. It's back and forth. Life is erratic, and it makes you erratic, and it makes the ability to navigate everything in your life erratic. What a powerful place to be, understanding what your tendencies are. Why do I do what I do? Why am I getting what I'm getting? What role am I playing in the life that I'm creating? This is where the power of analysis is the most effective. This is where the mind and the soul are complete companions. This is where the relationship bears fruit in ways that are transformational. So I encourage you to embrace this next space as if you were looking for the clues to who you are, and to allow those to be your pathway for becoming who you want to be. When we are in a light nap or unconscious, sometimes it's hard to see what clues life has been leaving for us. We have been given some divine guidance since we were born as to how we are intended to use our skills and to contribute in our lives and in the world at large. There is an entire network of things, of tendencies in a good way, that we do naturally, things we're drawn to, things that we find curious and fascinating, cultures that we can't explain that we are drawn to, types of music, types of art, types of architecture, all, professions, intellects, conversations, and a million other things. There are what I call off the body gifts or tendencies that are built within our nature. And a lot of time, our conditioning doesn't give us permission to pursue them. We think pursuing things that we love is a luxury. That comes after you retire, or that comes after you pay the bills, comes after you do all the responsible stuff. And as you start stripping down some of these layers and getting back tapped into your joy, these parts of you are going to become accessible again. So the clues that life leaves about who you are, who you've always been, and how you might leverage that into something dynamically powerful are just waiting for you to discover. So I encourage you to look deep, get the magnifying glass out, and start to experience new parts of yourself. Gratitude is the ability to shift from what you don't have to what you do have, and it takes practice. We are so often taught that it means we are alive if we're overcoming, surviving, not getting what we thought we would get, and being grateful for what we have. And I am here to submit that that may not be a concept that is serving you, if that has become a belief system on your way of doing life. Gratitude is about a relationship with a higher power, and it's about a relationship with yourself. It's about being grateful for a blanket of mercy and bounty and grace and wisdom and protection and love and all of these invisible dimensions that we walk through on a daily basis. But it's also about being grateful to yourself for being courageous and doing things that are hard and walking through doors that are scary. It's about being grateful for your own capacity to learn, to grow, to change, to shift, and to connect that power and that ability to the divine stream that runs through you. It can't be separated. So gratitude is always your way back, no matter what you're going through. If you stop, if you lay it out on a table and you compare what you don't have to what you do have, if you compare how you got the thinking of what you don't have to be the marker for your success or for the indication that you're not succeeding, then it's a perfect segue into the work you need to do inside. The worksheets are going to help you see the power of gratitude and how life shifting it is to wake and be grateful for the small to the large, for the ability to breathe and to navigate life and experience and absorb. It becomes this part of you that you can't contain. It starts to bubble over. Can't tell you the gratitude I have when I wake. Sometimes I can't even formulate the words because now I understand what playing field I'm on, and now my veils have been lifted, and so will yours, and you'll be able to see that you are in a storehouse of the world of everything. And once you learn how to wield those tools, it is the most divine space of gratitude.